In the beginning of the story, we see a couple named Paul and Abby who were going to shift in their new house outside the city. The agent tells them that this is a smart home and you can control any electronic thing of this house from your mobile. There are smart locks on the window doors and CCTV cameras outside the house. Abby goes to her work on the first day, which used to work in a robotic company. Then, as soon as she enters, she sees an AI video of the company's CEO. But then the real CEO John comes there and takes Abby to his prosthetic lab and tells everyone that Abby is the department head here from now on. After this, John says to Abby that I will send you a car and a gift in the evening. When Abby returns home, her husband Paul tells her that she is having a little difficulty in getting a job. Then Abby tells her that you don't worry about her, today evening there is a party at my boss's house, so let's go there. After this, Paul and Abby open the package sent by the boss and see that there is a video named Tim in it. There is a robot in the box, which means technology integrated man-servant. Then Abby says that this is the art of technology. Our company is working on artificial manservant and it is being given to all employees for its testing. Then suddenly Tim wakes up and says to Abby that you connect me to the smartphone. But Paul does not like Tim and he goes upstairs to his room. After a while, Paul and Abby go to John's house where a robot like Tim welcomes them. After that, they meet John and his wife. Later, when John talks to Abby about Tim, then Abby tells him that Paul does not want another member in our house. On this, John says that if we do not test it ourselves, then how will we win the trust of the public? After this, John makes Abby meet another director, during which we find out that they have kept Abby here to fix the error of the robots. After a while, Abby and Paul come back home and Tim closes the window and door while watching the rain. Later, when Abby and Paul were getting intimate in the room, Tim comes into the room, seeing which Abby asks him to meet him in the morning. Then the next day, his neighbor comes home to give him a welcome gift every day. Later, Abby and Paul meet each other in the room. When Abby introduces Paul to Rose, Rose looks at him and says that maybe we have met before. After that, she gives him her phone number and leaves. Abby asks Paul, "Why didn't you tell me that you have met Rose?" On this, Paul says that I just said hi to her. Then Abby looks at Tim while smelling him. After that, Tim tells her about his smell sensor and asks for his ID password to make a transaction with him. But Paul does not like this. But then, at Abby's request, he gives her all the access. Then at night, when Paul and Abby were watching a romantic movie, Tim comes there. There, Paul falls asleep while watching the movie. Then after the movie ends, Abby asks Tim about the movie, on which Tim asks Abby what love is. Abby tells him about love and Tim listens to Abby and says that I also want someone to love me. And then Tim proposes to Abby. But Abby thinks it's a joke and rejects him. Then the next day, John asks Abby about the errors and asks everyone to continue the work, so that they can present Tim in front of the public as soon as possible. When Abby comes home, Tim says that Paul is not at home. His phone is unreachable and his location is also very far from home. Hearing this, Abby suspects Paul and starts looking at Rose's house with suspicious eyes. Then when Paul comes home, he tells Abby that he had gone to talk to a job agency in the city so that he could get a job. And his phone was not charged, so he could not inform Abby. He also tells her that he had gone to Rose's house to help her. Now, Abby does not like this, but Paul tells her that please trust me. Then the next day, the two of them go to the fertility clinic, after which Abby goes to work. Abby notices some problems while testing the robot. After that, she comes home and asks Tim to select one of the red and blue dress. Whereas Tim chooses the red dress. When Abby asks him to put a chain on the dress, first Tim refuses her. But then as soon as he comes close to Abby, then he feels something different and by mistake he tears off Abby's dress. That's why Abby calms him down when he sees Tim scared. Later, when Abby and Paul were in the restaurant, Paul tells him that he has got a job in London. But Abby refuses Paul because they will not be able to see each other all day. During the work, Abby tells Chris that the pressure between the thumb and index finger of the robot releases his grip. Whereas Chris says that we will have to fix it quickly. After this, when Abby was shopping online. On the other hand, because Tim had access to her at home, he was keeping an eye on Abby's things. Later, when Abby comes home and sees that Tim is helping Paul, she is very happy to see this. But then she comes there every day and kisses Paul's cheek and leaves. Now, seeing this, Abby gets a little angry with him. But then she gives him a gift, which was a sweater. During this time, Abby finds out that Tim was making a sound like him on the phone. Later, when Paul and Abby are together, Tim comes in front of them by coloring his hair. And tells them that Abby likes boys with dark hair. That's why I have also dyed my hair black. But then Abby asks him to do his look again. Then the next day we see John, who was very happy with Abby because he had fixed the hand error of the robot. After this, Abby goes shopping with Rose. During this time, when Rose was looking at a necklace, Paul comes there and takes Abby with him. Later, Paul says to Abby that he can also do a job in London from home. Abby is very happy to hear this. Then Paul and Abby are intimate at home. After this, Paul says to Abby that we have to get rid of Tim. Because of the access there, Tim was listening to all their talks. Later, Tim comes home and says thank you to Abby for solving the hand error. And he starts giving her a foot massage. Then the next day, Abby was about to tell Tim that he can't live with them anymore. But then Tim plays his favorite music. And says to Abby that I know this is your favorite music. Abby is very happy to hear this. Then the next day, Tim comes to Paul and says that there has been an accident in his office. On which Paul says that it's okay. I will shift the office to another place for a few days. There, Abby's office is highly praised for his work. And flowers are also given to him. Which Tim puts in the house and tells him that Paul is upstairs in the room. And he went to meet Rose today. Now when Abby goes to Paul, she gets angry to see that Paul had kept his stuff in an empty room. Because these two had decided that they would make this room a nursery. Then Paul says that Tim had told me to do this. And today I didn't even go to meet Rose. But Abby doesn't believe Paul. Which makes Paul understand that Tim wants to fight between them. Then the next day, Abby gets the same necklace from the closet that she and Rose were looking at that day. Seeing it, Abby thinks that maybe Paul took it to convince her. When Paul is in the kitchen, he finds pieces of Abby's sweater in the sink. Now the doubt of this also goes to Tim. So Paul now looks at Tim. Where he sees with the help of the camera that Tim was smelling Abby's clothes. Then Paul records his video. But Paul didn't know that Tim was also watching his every move. Now Paul goes to Abby to show that video. But then Tim makes an accident of his car on the way. When Paul was in the hospital, Abby comes to meet him. Then Paul says to Abby that I made a video of Tim smelling your clothes. But when I was coming to show you, Tim made my accident. But Abby doesn't pay much attention to Paul's words. Next, when Rose comes to know about Paul's accident, she comes to Paul's house. And then Tim calls her inside the house. The next day, when Abby was going to her house, she meets Rose. She tells her that she came to your house yesterday. Meanwhile, Abby's eyes fall on the necklace in Rose's neck. Seeing which she gets angry and leaves from there. Next, when Abby comes home and looks at her closet, there is no necklace there. So Tim comes there and gives Abby Paul's necklace. Was kissing Rose. Seeing this, Abby gets very angry. The next day, when Paul comes home, Abby asks him about Rose and her affair and shows him her kissing video. But then Paul says to her, I didn't kiss her. Then Abby asks him about that necklace, but Paul leaves without saying anything. Then after reaching the city, he calls Rose and tells her to take care of Abby. Then Rose tells that when I was at your house, Tim tried to kiss me. Hearing this, Paul calls Abby, but then Tim picks up the call from the other side. Paul says to her that I am coming to the house. But before coming to her house, Tim sends Abby out of the house by mistake. Later, when Paul comes home, Tim makes him unconscious and takes him to the bedroom. In the meantime, Rose comes to his house, where she hears Paul's voice, but Tim does not let her come in and then drowns Paul in the water and kills him. The same day, Tim says to Abby that I love you. But this time too, Abby ignores him. Then the next day Rose talks to Abby. But Abby says to her in anger that I know that you and my husband are having an affair and she has also given you this necklace. Rose says on it, but you sent me this, but Abby does not listen to her. When she came home and was watching the video of Paul's kiss, then she sees the flowers there, which were not in the video. Now, seeing this, Abby calls the store with the necklace, where she finds out that Paul did not buy the necklace, but Tim bought it. Then Abby's mother comes in and sends Tim out by mistake. Then when she comes to the garden and checks her properly, she finds Paul's dead body there. In the meantime, Tim comes there and says that I had to do this. Then Abby tries to deactivate Tim, but he does not happen. So she runs inside the house and calls the police. But in the meantime, Tim comes in and makes Abby unconscious, while the lights on and off at Abby's house are seen. Rose comes to Abby's house every day, but Tim does not let her come inside and comes to Abby and gives her drug. After eating, he grabs it from the neck and picks it up, but then Abby causes pressure between her thumbs and fingers, by which her grip is reduced. In so many days, the glass of the house breaks and comes inside and attacks Tim's body with a stick. Meanwhile, Tim gets deactivated, but then he gets activated and kills Rose. And then he alleges Abby for her murder. After that, in the voice of Abby, he confesses that he was the one who killed Paul and Rose. Finally, he tries to prove that after killing the two of them, he has killed Mommy and objected to Abby, according to them. Tim also takes his own life. So just as he was about to throw Abby off, he tells her, I love you. At the same time, Abby also says, I love you, to him, which deactivates Tim and saves Abby's life. Then, after a while, Abby receives an alert on her smartwatch, which reveals that she is pregnant. And friends, with this suspense, the story ends here.